On the field. Off the field. Sports talk. Entertainment and more. This is Sauce on the Side.
Well, hello there, Dippers, and welcome back to episode 72 of the Sauce on the Side podcast. As always, Dippers, I'm your host, Drake, joined by the man, the producer, Leighton Pip Shavantone.
You know, Drake, I learned a whole lot of things this weekend, but I think the most surprising thing that I learned is that Joe Mixon is the best running back prospect since Eric Dickerson.
Yeah, the way things are looking now, you might actually be right, Mr. Leighton C. Guys, we have a very jam-packed show for you today. We actually, it will be a two-man weave today, Leighton C and I. We will power through this together. We're going to have a lot of fun today. We actually have a really fun game that we're going to introduce today, just because bowl season's right around the corner. They came in, announced all the bowl games on Sunday, all that, left UCF out of the playoff, and Leighton C are going to play a game. It is called Is It a Bowl? First introduced a couple years ago, I think. I started doing that with you and some people. Just, we were out at a party or something. I was like, this is the weird stuff that we do. I wrote down all these crazy bowl games and stuff. So, guys, at least stick around for that. That will be a lot of fun, I think.
And you can tell we partied really hard.
Yeah, partied really, really hard. Also, little Week 13 recap. Preview the games next week with our Saucy Six-Pack. And we'll talk about the Heisman. Candidates got released about 35 minutes ago. So, Leighton C, you ready for this?
Can't wait.
All right, guys. So, Kareem Hunt. Video surfaced of him pushing and kicking a woman in a hotel. Apparently, the Chiefs were aware of the incident, but once the video surfaced, he was promptly released from the team. Leighton C, what are your thoughts on this?
So, do we want to start with the video?
There's a lot of stuff we can hit on this. We'll start with just the video itself.
Okay, so every hotel you listeners stay at, Kareem Hunt definitely stays at, has cameras in the hallways 100% of the time.
Oh, yes.
I don't know what Kareem Hunt told the Chiefs when they asked him about this altercation, because if he would have said it happened in the hallway, somebody in that front office should have known, hey, there's definitely a video out there, because he got cut because he lied, not because what happened.
Yes, absolutely.
And why not? If they knew the video.
Have you ever tried to see the video of anything? Like, if you got something stolen or anything like that, to go to a store or anywhere and say, "Hey, can I watch your tapes?"
They love showing you that stuff.
No, I've never had luck with that. I've had bad luck. Maybe I just look creepy walking up there with a bald head and a beard, but they never trust me with that kind of stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
I remember one time.
The only way you're going to get that is if you find the overjoyous security guard. The guy who's just loves to be buddy, you know what guy I'm talking about.
Yeah.
He's usually about 70 to 90 pounds overweight, kind of lumping around the place. He's the only guy there that'll show you the video.
I might have got lucky, because once I can't remember where I was at, but I lost my wallet. I think it came off something. I asked him, hey, can I see the camera, see the damn wallet down at? And I found it at a jeweler place next to the...
What were you doing at the jeweler?
It's next to the dressing booths rooms.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Leighton C's been visiting a jeweler lately.
But yeah, no. They had to know the video. Unless he told them, it's all happened in the room. They should know there's a video out there. So they shouldn't let the video come to light. They should have paid the hotel whatever it took. And secondly, I want to know who got the video and sold it. Because the hotel wouldn't give it up to the NFL or the Chiefs. Why did they give it to TMZ?
Yeah, it's really bizarre. There's a ton of stuff that goes on in this. Obviously, they did not look into the instance that much. The Chiefs hadn't to. Because if you wanted to find the video, like you said, you could find the video. If you wanted to know, just set in stone, what happened, you can find out. But if you think about this, if this instance would have happened 10 feet to the left where this video was filmed, inside that hotel room, nothing would have ever came out of it.
No, there would have been allegations. There would have been allegations about it. It would have been investigated again. But because this got investigated back in August. Like, this is already blown over and done with. The video came out and nothing happened.
Yes. So you think about it. How many of these cases of domestic violence are basically getting just swept underneath the rug by teams? Like, we didn't even, you nor I or anybody, knew that there was even an investigation going on with these teams. So you don't know how much this is actually happening.
Yeah.
And, you know, a lot of people this week had been talking to me about the Kareem Hunt video, and I'm like, well, you know, Tyreek Hill, he beat up his pregnant his pregnant girlfriend at one point, got charges put against him, and ended up being found guilty of battery by strangulation on his pregnant girlfriend, and repeatedly had her down, hitting her in the stomach. What do? A year and a half later? They draft him in the 5th round.
Yeah.
So if you want to come out and you can pat the Chiefs on the back for finally getting it right. Like, I think that you should be dismissed of your job. I mean, you think about if you're at any other job and a video comes up of you hitting somebody, obviously your employer is not going to be very happy with that, and they are going to dismiss you. Like, people look at this like it's like a high school football team, and some kid gets in a fight, you suspend them for a couple weeks. No, that's not how you handle things. Like, this is a company. This is you can look at it as two ways. You can either look at it as a team, then you get into the high school thing where you're like, oh, it's just a high school team, you know, and it's just a video of this kid getting in a fight. It's not that. This is domestic violence. It is an employee getting fired by his employer.
Yeah.
That is what should happen in a case like this.
Yeah, but, you know, the NFL, like, they have really good track record. You know, they've really been corrupt. You know, they're the highest profiting non-politician in the history of the universe.
Absolutely.
The owners are all just top-notch guys, no greed at all. Like, Joe Mixon hit that girl in the face, second round draft pick the same year.
Yeah.
Like, you know, they don't have problems. But it honestly kind of shocked me that they took this route, because normally they're just, you know.
Yeah, Reuben Foster. Takes third time's the charm. He gets popped for domestic violence for the third time in like a year and a half. Bam. Now we cut him.
Yeah. But then he gets picked up again.
Yes,
Like,
he gets picked up
48
immediately.
hours later, picked
It
up.
takes an idiot like Dan Snyder to do something like that. So I think the Chiefs actually handled this pretty well.
They did. No, they did what they should have did.
Yeah,
Done.
and
sure.
you know, and they're a team that actually has a chance to win something this year. So, like, I even applaud them more than that. You know, if it would have been a bad football team that did this, it's like, okay, maybe they're just trying to prove a point. This is more than that. Like, they're holding people accountable, and that's the way the NFL should be.
I agree with you, but at the same time, I don't agree with you. The Chiefs PR, whoever they use for the head PR, needs to be sat down and or fired, because they cut Kareem Hunt. Didn't say anything else. Everybody thought he'd come because he beat that woman in the hallway. But no, they came out and said that they cut him because he lied to an organization they couldn't trust, and not because he waited in that hotel room. If he would have been truthful in August, he'd be on the team still.
That's insane.
They come out and say, we knew what happened, he could all of this, we're going to suspend him for X number of games, and that was it. NFL would have been okay with that, Chiefs been okay with that, he would have played football in 4 weeks in the playoffs.
That is absolutely insane. I don't know why you would say that. Like, at least just
lie.
If you're lying, at least just lie to us and tell us that the reason why he got cut is because he pushed a girl and kicked her whenever she was down. Like, I don't know why you would come out and say that. Like, that's the worst way to handle it. But I'm glad that they cut ties with it, because it at least makes them look good. But from a football aspect, what do you think about the Chiefs moving forward?
Well, they're not in the market for a running back, I guess, because they signed Kendrick West today, Spencer Ware,
Jamal Charles. He's looking for a job.
I don't think Jamal Charles will be back in Kansas City anytime soon, but this year in the draft, you know, they're going to have a late round pick in the first round. They can get a guy in the first round.
What about this year? Do you think that they can win a championship without him?
I do. I think that the combination of Kendrick West and Spencer Ware won't meet the level of talent Kareem Hunt has, but it is suitable enough. And Patrick Mahomes will make the mistakes he made against Los Angeles.
See, I disagree with that, because if you saw the Raiders game, I mean, obviously they're going to have more time to scheme, get those guys worked into the offense. But you look at that Raiders game, and like the Chiefs have been just this year, they get a big lead because they have such an explosive offense, and then they basically just hang around, run the clock out. And they're not going to be able to do that now. Like, we saw a very, very inefficient running game for the team, and they let a team like the Raiders hang around in the game. I would be very surprised, just because, like, if you look at the Eagles and how good the Eagles were last year, whenever they had a Jay Ajayi that could run the clock out, could actually run between the tackles and kind of, put a game on ice for them. Like, they need every team that wins a Super Bowl. You don't have to have a great running back, but you have to have a serviceable one that can run between the tackles and put a game on ice for you. And I don't know if they have that on their roster.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be an issue, but I don't know. I have my doubts about them, just in general, because all the Chiefs, and, it's going to get cold in Arrowhead in January. How can that play that offense? So that will hurt them. But I think from that standpoint, they'll be okay.
All right, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this team does in the playoffs whenever it is cold, like you said, and they have absolutely no running game.
Yeah, and if you look at the team, like, they aren't putting up that many huge rushing numbers. They just rush the ball when they have to, like you said, but
yeah, but they do it efficiently.
The whole team Patrick Mahomes, like that's the team. As long as he plays good, they'll win.
Right. So the Packers, in an attempt to put a smile on Aaron Rodgers' face for the first time all season, fire Mike McCarthy after losing to the 2-9 Cardinals. Do you think this is a fair move?
First off, I want to say that I called it.
You did call it.
I said that in 2 weeks he's coaching against Atlanta. I'll be surprised.
And my immediate reaction was that would mean he has to lose to the Cardinals, and that's just not going to happen. Well, it happened.
Yeah.
So good call, latency.
I actually thought the Cardinals game was after the Atlanta game. Remember I said that, but regardless, I got it right. So was it a fair move? No, it wasn't a fair move because you can look at it and say Mason Crosby cost him 2 games this season, and you can say Aaron Rodgers hasn't looked the best. You look at he hasn't cared. But I think it was the right move because now McCarthy can get out there and start looking for other jobs next season, and the Packers can go ahead and start their coaching search for next season too.
Right. See, I don't think that Mike McCarthy's a great coach, but I think he's an all right coach. I think that the problem with this team is the organization. I think that the organization is definitely at fault here. Aaron Rodgers, so you take Aaron Rodgers out of the equation, he kind of just fell into their hands in the draft. Do you know how many players Mike McCarthy has coached that have been all-pro? Outside of Aaron Rodgers, he fell into their lap.
Aaron Rodgers, all-pro, so not Pro Bowl, all-pro.
All-pro, first team all-pro.
Maybe Greg Jennings?
2, Clay Matthews and John Kuhn.
John Kuhn, that's what
in 13 years, this man has coached 2 players all-pro. The Browns have had 3 players first-team all-pro over the same amount of time. Since the 2011 season, so 2012 and beyond, the Packers, they went 15-1 in 2012. They have had 5 defensive Pro Bowlers since then. The Cleveland Browns also have 5. So if you want to point fingers all on McCarthy, you kind of have to put them at the organization as well. I mean, they have evaluated talent just as well as the Browns have. The only difference is they do not have Aaron Rodgers. And, if Aaron Rodgers is supposed to be this great quarterback, like we saw Mike McCarthy last year with Brett Hundley, went 3-6. This year, Aaron Rodgers is 4-6-1. So it's virtually the same amount of production that you're getting in the win and loss column between Brett Hundley and Aaron Rodgers. I don't think that this is all Mike McCarthy's fault. I don't think he's that great of a coach, but I also think that the talent that they've put in Green Bay has been absolutely abysmal. And you look at the 5 defensive Pro Bowlers that they've had, Sam Shields, they had to get rid of him because of injury concerns. He was hurt all the time. Clinton Dix. What happened to him? They traded him. Clay Matthews, he stuck around for a while. Mike Daniels, Pro Bowler last year. He pretty good player. But then like Julius Peppers, like he was a free agent that was like 80 years old walking the streets and they signed him. Turned out to be good. But other than that, that is 5 defensive Pro Bowlers since 2012. Since 2012 began. I don't see how a team can evaluate talent that bad and continue to think that they're supposed to be this big franchise that everybody's supposed to love and, they're a Super Bowl contender every year and that's what the way that they look at themselves. They are one player. That's it. That is it for this team. They do offense well, but that's what Mike McCarthy does. So I understand that. So if you look at it, really, Mike McCarthy's kind of been saving this team's ass.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that goes into why they fired I can't remember the old GM name right now, but especially find him and Brian Turner, and they're also make those trades, sign players. They signed Jimmy Graham this season, but they can't figure out how to use them, which is also just one of the oddest things ever. That team. How could only Drew Brees figure out how to use Jimmy Graham?
I don't know, but well, if you watch the games whenever he played for the Saints, dude, he was out wide at almost every single snap. The guy thought he should be paid as a freaking wide receiver because he was getting 80% of his snaps out wide. They ship him up to Seattle. Oh, yep, he is a regular tight end. Put his hand on the ground 80% of the plays.
Yeah.
Comes over to Green Bay. Yep, he's a blocker. No, the guy is a freaking he's a basketball player playing football. He's not a blocker. Put him out wide and then use him that way. I've never understood why the Jimmy Graham thing. I guess Sean Payton is just heads and shoulders above everybody else in the NFL. But it's a hard pill to swallow to look at Mike McCarthy. Like, I don't think he's that good of a coach, but like this team has way bigger problems than just Mike McCarthy.
Yeah, and like Drake hates Aaron Rodgers. He's a big fan. I do not hate Aaron Rodgers at all. I'm just acknowledging that he has. Okay, everybody's had jobs or whatever where they have not gone along with the boss, who else with them, and they just gone through the motions at work, got a job done, and went home. That's what Rodgers kind of done all season long. He's gone to work, just put out effort, probably look like he's trying, and then gone home. He can't do that now. He can no longer deflect the blame. After week 3 or 4, called the entire team, called the offense. He won McCarthy gone. He's gone. You got Joe Philbin. Aaron Rodgers said, now your team, you can no longer deflect the blame at the defense, at the coach, or anybody. This is your show.
Yes, this is the Aaron Rodgers show. And I think this is a bad thing for Aaron Rodgers. Mike McCarthy being gone because he doesn't have his fall guy anymore, and everything's going to come right back at him. Never before has Aaron Rodgers ever had any blame. I am the biggest Aaron Rodgers hater as a person that there possibly is outside of his family, and I've acknowledged how good he is. Like, I hate him because he's so good and he plays the Bears, always kicks the Bears' ass. But, like, at the end of the day, I'll admit he's really, really good. But this year, he has really sucked.
He doesn't care.
Yes, I mean, if you want to say, he's only thrown 1 interception this year. Like, get out of here with that. Just because you don't throw interceptions does not mean you're a good quarterback.
Whenever 2 of your 5 throws go 2 throws into the stands, you can't throw interceptions that way.
Yeah, I would rather a guy throw the ball close at my wide receiver 10 feet away instead of straight into the ground and it get picked off. Yeah. Like, if you want to be good, you're going to throw interceptions. I mean, look at Patrick Mahomes. He's been phenomenal. He might be the best quarterback in the NFL. He throws interceptions because guess what? Defense is still good. If you throw the ball in the general area of your wide receiver, you're going to get picked off. But if you're Aaron Rodgers and you're airmailing your guys deep, like he had a 25-yard throw the other day against Minnesota to take the lead, and he threw it 10 feet over the guy's head. So I don't understand that. And if you want to complain, Mike McCarthy's offense doesn't get anybody open. Guys, big points of games this year. You take out the game against the Bears, you take out one quarter against the Bears, you take out 1 quarter against the 49ers. He's been pretty pedestrian all season. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. Who's the next coach? Who should be the next coach?
Well, we're ahead and Paul Concal had a little checklist of things you have to be a coach.
He said this?
No, this is I took one of Colin's book.
Okay.
Colin has the thing where he eliminates XYZ to get to one answer.
No, this should be good.
You gotta figure it out. Okay. So the head coach for Aaron Rodgers, he cannot be a young guy. Okay, Aaron Rodgers is hard to coach. So they get Aaron Rodgers, but he's a great quarterback, and with great players like Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Transports LeBron James, and Kobe, they're all very, very good. I'm not saying that they can't be coached, but you gotta kind of coach with them and not to them. So young guys, Lincoln Riley out. What's the guy name from Texas Tech?
Cliff Kingsbury.
Kingsbury can't be him either. Okay, now we're gonna go in there and coach Aaron Rodgers. That's what he wants to do. It has to be an offensive guy, but it has to be this genius that draws up these crazy schemes, like gadget play, like Sean McVay and sometimes Matt Nagy runs. Because Aaron Rodgers doesn't need that. Mr. Trubisky, Jared Goff, the younger guys, they need the help in the offense to get guys open, find success, and get better. Rodgers is already there. Now you have to have a guy who's respected and has a history of winning and coaching high-level players, Hall of Fame players, and continued success throughout the league.
All right, John Fox or Jeff Fisher?
Yes.
This is where the signs are pointing.
The answer, Drake, to the question is Josh McDaniels. Okay. Yes, in Denver, he was not great, sub-500 record, but he was playing with Kyle Orton, Brandon Lloyd, and no Tom Moreno.
Yeah, that's rough.
Goes to Green Bay, get Aaron Rodgers, Jimmy Graham, Aaron Jones, Vontae Adams, all young wide receivers. Joe McDaniels, to me, is the shoo-in guy for Aaron Rodgers. He's won in New England. He's seen how to win. He's learned how to win. He learned how to coach these kind of guys. And he'll be the next Packers head coach. It cannot be Bruce Arians. That will not work. Because Bruce Arians is not going to deal with Aaron Rodgers going off the script of the game.
No, I agree with that. And that would be a funny thing to watch. I think what would be hilarious to watch is a guy like Sean McVay to come in there who's smarter than Aaron Rodgers. He walks in the door, he's the smartest guy in the room, and Aaron Rodgers just completely blow him off and just think that this guy's a quack. And, I would love for him to walk in the room and be like, okay, Aaron, we're going to do things just like we did in L.A. You're going to walk you guys are going to get to the line in a hurry, and then I am going to call the audibles. Oh my goodness, that would be great.
See, and that's why it wouldn't work, because Rodgers, because it's like, in the great Hall of Fame player, they know how the game works, and Rodgers is not going to listen to that.
See, if I'm going to do the Colin Cowherd thing and just do, mark things off here and there, the first thing on the chopping block would be he can't disagree with Aaron Rodgers on absolutely anything. So then at that point, all signs point to Aaron Rodgers as being the next head coach. That's the only guy who's going to get along with Aaron Rodgers at this point. I think that he's like Boogie Cousins, man. He's a phenomenal talent. You can't disregard it, but he's not going to get along with anybody. I think the only see, you said that it can't be a young guy. I think it needs to be a young guy. I think it needs to be like Lincoln Riley. He's 3 months older than Aaron Rodgers, but whenever he comes in the room, like Aaron can kind of put his finger on Lincoln Riley and do what he wants. He's going to have to get a young guy that he has a buddy-buddy relationship with instead of an authoritative older guy who's going to come in and say, this is the way things are going to be, like it or not. And you're going to lose Aaron Rodgers on the first day. Now, if you get a guy like Lincoln Riley who they're buddies, they're talking, they're relatable to each other at one point or another. And you look at a guy like Lincoln Riley, he's had success with two quarterbacks that are the complete opposite of each other with Kyler Murray and Baker Mayfield from a talent standpoint. I think that Lincoln Riley makes sense. I've said before that I didn't love the idea of Lincoln Riley being a head coach right now in the NFL, but I think Green Bay might be the only place that it could work. Just because him and Aaron Rodgers could develop a buddy-buddy relationship instead of a coach-quarterback relationship, because that'll never work with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, and plus, you can match up, you get the most high quarterback in the NFL, which always really helps the starting off of a head coaching job. You get the hard thing to find out of the way immediately.
Yeah.
That helps. I don't know. I think a young guy. I think Dr. Daniels is the best guy for this job.
He probably is. Like, as far as a guy who is most ready to take on this job, but I think that if a guy comes in there and tries to tell Aaron Rodgers the way we're going to do things, you're going to lose him day one.
I don't think him will do that. Because Lincoln Riley never won anything in the NFL ever at any level.
I know, but I think he would.
As long as it has,
he would come in and it would be more of like a give and take relationship where like I learn from Aaron learns from me, and we kind of just share stuff instead of like I am going to be the guy. You will listen to me. I'm coach. You're quarterback. Do it my way. And I just don't know if that'll work with Aaron Rodgers. So another long-term coach is looking pretty rough. Marvin Lewis. Bengals started off 4-1, now 1-6 in their last 7. Is Marvin Jones? Is his time coming to an end with the Bengals?
Well, I don't know who Marvin Jones is.
Marvin Lewis.
Marvin Lewis's time is definitely
wide receiver.
Well, that's right. It is for the Lions, but
his time with the Bengals is actually done.
It's done. But Marvin Lewis, it's done. Bengals must have spent 2 or 3 years in purgatory. Andy Dalton contract ends, I think, 2 seasons from now. Next year, last year, AJ Green's contract will be 31. He probably won't come back. They got Joe Mixon, got Tyler Boyd. That's kind of it. That's all they have, really. The defense is getting older. They're going to, win 6-7 games next 2 or 3 seasons, and then they'll either turn it around and win 10, or they'll win, 3 or 4 and then complete rebuild. But that could be the worst place you could possibly be in the NFL.
See, if I'm the Bengals, you have to look around the NFL and see what is successful. You look at all the teams that are being successful this year, wipe the Patriots out, because the way the Patriots do things will never work anywhere else other than with Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. The Saints, the Rams, the Bears, the Texans, the Chargers. You know what they all have in common? They're the only teams in the NFL that have 8 wins, and every single one of their coaches came up through the ranks as an offensive guy. So I think to have success in the NFL, you need to get an offensive-minded head coach that can kind of steer things on the offensive side of the ball, get you a defensive coordinator to kind of just, you handle basically everything else. And with the way that it lies, you said that, AJ Green, he's done after this season with the contract that he has now. Andy Dalton, 2 seasons from now, he will become a free agent. You need to act now. You don't need to act you don't need to wait until there's a rebuild. I think that you need to go ahead and fire Marvin Lewis and see what you have with a different head coach to know if those are the players that you want on your team moving forward. Because if you go ahead and do it now, that guy will have a whole year with them. And if he does find early success, then you can say, this is the core group of guys that we're going to be moving forward with. If you look at their skill players, I was talking to you the other day, you can make an argument that the Bengals have the best skill players in the NFL. Giovanni Bernard, Joe Mixon, Andy Dalton, or AJ Green, Tyler Boyd, John Ross. Like, they have a ton of weapons. You get an offensive mind head coach in there, you can see what works with this guy and what doesn't. So I think that the Bengals need to act sooner rather than later in changing, passing the torch with their head coach. And I think if you did it now, this would be the best time to do it with all these contracts coming up, going to be expiring over the next couple seasons. That way you know if you need to go out and look different ways with your talent or if it's just the actual coach problem.
Yeah. So you think they're going to hire Hugh Jackson?
Oh my goodness, that would be hilarious.
They came out and said that that right now, he's the next guy up. It's basically an interview for him right now this season.
I mean,
how Hugh Jackson keeps getting jobs, man, I can't figure it out.
I don't think they've won a game since Hugh Jackson came on. And the best part is that Hugh Jackson's there to help with defenses.
Yeah, and they're bad at defenses. They're just not good.
Yeah, I mean, this does explain why they were bad at defense, though. And the bad thing is, like, Hugh Jackson, whenever he was there before, he was supposed to be the reason why Andy Dalton had, like, that coming-to party.
Yeah, I never understood the position of the coaching assistant. They're kind of seeing a slap in the face to the coach if you're not bringing your coffee every morning.
Yeah, no, this is going to be your assistant, but if you start screwing up, he's going to take your job.
Yeah, I guess.
That's going to be a great relationship between the head coach and assistant.
Yep.
I don't think that makes any sense. Do you think the Bengals need to just go ahead and fire him?
They should have fired him 2 years ago.
Yeah, I agree, but I think that they need to do it. If you're going to do it and you have it in your mind that, like, hey, if next year doesn't work out, we're going to do it, they should just go ahead and do it now.
Yeah.
That way you can see the talent and evaluate there.
Right now they know they're going to fire him or not.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they absolutely
They know he'll do it now.
Yeah, just go ahead and jump on it, get it over with. So, kind of odd here. 52 passes, 0 points. That is what Andrew Luck was able to muster against the Jaguars' defense. Jaguars' defense has been very questionable of late. Last week we said they were a couple of wins away from the contender cart. Does this cement them outside of the cart?
I just want to say it's only the 4th time ever a team has thrown 52 passes and not scored a point.
I thought this was the first.
This is actually the 4th. It's happened to Tampa Bay in 2012, Detroit 2001, and then Arizona in 1994.
Wow.
But, so last week I wasn't considered for the call. They had a long way to go, still back-to-back wins. And then I would consider it, but no, they're out. They call it, that supposed to be a wild-card team now, but we just saw the offense go 52 times, 0 points. On the plus side, they only give up 6.
Yeah, that is a huge plus. See, I don't know if this makes me knock them out of the contender cart. I think that, like, a win next week, like, would put them back to where they're just, like, back into the contender cart. Like, this game was just a really, really weird game. And it basically just points back to, like, Frank Reich. Like, we know that he's going to be aggressive. They got into field goal range 4 times, and they had 2 turnover on downs. They had a fumble. So, like, had they just settled for the points, we probably wouldn't even be talking about this game today. Like, oh, yeah, they won a 9-6 game against the Jaguars. Ugly win. Still won. Move the needle forward on the team. Mm-hmm. But instead of doing that, like, they had the ball, like, on the 2-yard line and had a turnover on downs. So I don't know if I'm ready to move them out just because of that. I think this is just this is a rarity in sports where a guy makes a ton of aggressive moves and absolutely none of them pay off. But, last little bit we have here on talking about the NFL season. Return of Joe. the Ravens have a tough decision this weekend. One that could really determine the direction of the franchise for years to come. Flacco or Lamar? You make the call.
I think it has to be Lamar Jackson. Because Ravens have won 3 in a row now with Lamar Jackson at quarterback. You could say they would have won 1 or 2 of those games, but I don't think they would have gone to Atlanta and won yesterday. So Flacco out there. Granted, I don't only scored 10 points, but I think the fact that one could score 11. And the entire team just seemed, rejuvenized by Lamar Jackson being back there at quarterback.
Oh, yeah, dude. Like, the defense has been forcing turnovers and looking, like, phenomenal just because they kind of have some... They know that the guy is not just going to have a 3-and-out, 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 punt it back to the other team and maybe throw an interception.
Yeah. And I know that you never want a head coach, it's your choice every time. But I feel like something like this, where the team's been playing this well with Lamar Jackson, so much big up to the players' vote thing. Because, there are probably some players out there who like Joe Flacco, like Marcel Yonda probably likes Joe Flacco a whole lot. But I feel like a lot of the players prefer to have Lamar Jackson as their quarterback and where they're going forward.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. And you look at the sheer numbers. Like, Lamar's played in 3 games this season. All 3 games they've had over 366 yards, and they've had 24 or more points. You look at Flacco in his first 9 games, they only had 24 or more points 3 times and 366 yards of offense 4 of those 9 games. So you look at Lamar Jackson, what they're having success with. They're able to run the football. They've had 200 yards of rushing in every single game that he's played in, which is a very, very important part of a team that is solely built around defense. So they're efficient whenever they pass the ball. They're running the ball at a phenomenal clip right now. I think that you can't go back to Joe Flacco because you will regress to what you were prior to the bye week. So I think that if you're going to miss the playoffs with Lamar Jackson, see what you have, let him get the experience, because Joe Flacco is not your answer moving forward. Like, we've known that for the past 2 or 3 seasons now. They've just been not willing to accept it. You have the answer in front of your face. Just go ahead and take it. I mean, you would be crazy to go back to Joe Flacco.
Yeah, and they kept Joe Flacco. It's also going to probably eat a whole lot of dead money. But it's better for the defense going forward.
Absolutely.
Like, just up and say, okay, we made bad Joe Flacco, we messed up, we'll eat these losses, but the team be better for it. Different sport, Red Sox, cut Paulo Sandoval, cut Henry Ramirez.
I was just about to say the same thing.
They said, that's $35 million wasted, but we cut him, but for the team, we'll see this past season.
Yeah, and you just cannot stay stagnant like this. Like, you look at the Bears, like, they finally moved past Jay Cutler, and, like, look at it now. It only took a year, and back on top. So I think that you just rather just go ahead and pass the torch now, especially while the guy's hot. The guy has some confidence. You put him back on the bench, he might come back in and not be the same player just from a mental standpoint. So you just have to accept the answer now. It's Lamar Jackson's time to shine. Just take it.
So you think that Joe Flacco's toast?
Oh, yeah, I think Joe Flacco's done.
Do you think his NFL career's done?
I think that he could go somewhere, kind of a weird situation like Jay Cutler last year. Starting quarterback gets hurt at the beginning of the season. Bring him in for a year or 2.
Don't he fit the mold of a guy looking at backup quarterback on a sign for the next 5 or 6 seasons, though?
Oh, yeah, he definitely does.
You got any more thoughts for us?
Yes, I do, actually.
It was all a dream. I used to read Word Up magazine.
There are 3 guarantees in life: death, taxes, and if you do some stupid shit, TMZ will find it. Mike McCarthy, relieved of his duties as the Packers head coach. The only person in Green Bay that is upset is the Burger King across the street from Lambeau. Mike McCarthy, 10 more playoff wins than Marvin Lewis, but there's only one man that still has his job. Let's say a hypothetical situation. A guy gets accused of assault for the 3rd time in the last year and got cut from an NFL team. Would you think that a guy who owns a team called the Redskins would sign him? OBJ, best quarterback on the Giants. Tariq Cohen, best uninjured quarterback on the Bears. What's 4-7-1 and couldn't care less? Aaron Rodgers. I had the referees in the Steelers-Chargers game in my fantasy league yesterday, and they got me negative 17 points. Speaking of fantasy, Kareem Hunt in a Redskins jersey. That is Dan Snyder's. And there's a new short story out this week, and it's actually a love letter between Bill Belichick and Adam Thielen from the Battle of New England. And it is titled, shut the fuck up. And those have been my thoughts.
I like the thoughts.
Yeah, that Bill Belichick, man, that was funny.
That was good. Yeah,
That was good.
yeah. Like I don't know. I feel like do you know what that was? That's Aaron Rodgers talking to Lincoln Riley next season if you're the head coach.
Yeah.
That's what that was.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
That's what wouldn't work out.
So, Leighton, let's do a little bit of NFL word association for the Week 13 recap. Who's the biggest winner?
Packers fans.
Got Aaron Rodgers. The crybaby got what he wanted. Biggest loser?
Aaron Rodgers. He lost his fall guy.
Primetime referees. 3 blown calls on 17 Chargers points. Biggest surprise?
Josh Allen is a more efficient runner than Lamar Jackson.
Wow. He is, isn't he?
Yeah, he had 125 touchdowns yesterday.
That's weird whenever you say it. OBJ. 2 40-yard touchdowns thrown. Eli Manning has 0. Biggest disappointment?
This is kind of a season-long thing, but Kirk Cousins and the Vikings. 6-5-1.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. I'm actually going to go with Chase Daniel. He did the Mark Sanchez special. 4 fumbles, 3 of them in overtime, and a pick 6 with 2 picks, but one of them was a pick 6. So that's the Mark Sanchez special. And I actually wrote this before you told me the little stat earlier that you read off like all the guys that had 4 fumbles in a game, and Mark Sanchez was on there. So I was like, yes.
He's done it twice.
Yeah, he's done it twice. So this was the Mark Sanchez special. Biggest impact injury?
James Conner. They said today he could be fine, but they say a lot of things, so we'll see.
Yeah, I'm going with Chris Harris. Team's 1 game out of the playoffs right now. They're on fire, and they're losing possibly their second best player on the defensive side of the ball. That could be big for the Broncos. Biggest WTF moment?
Miami won a game when they were outgained 415 to 175. That's a 240 difference. That has happened 41 times in the NFL.
And there's been a lot of games played.
The team has won a game 200 yards, getting up over 400 yards 8 times, including yesterday.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yep.
Okay, so my biggest WTF moment. I'm going to preface it by this. What are the only kind of plays that are not automatic, or what are the only kind of plays that are automatically reviewed?
Turnovers and touchdowns.
And then what plays can't be reviewed?
Penalties.
Inside 2-minute warning?
Yeah. Yeah, it comes from the booth.
Yeah, they all come from the booth. Okay, my biggest WTF moment. John Gruden threw the challenge flag on a scoring play inside of the 2-minute. Travis Kelce caught a touchdown with 7 seconds to go before half. Costed the Raiders a touchdown, or it cost them a timeout, obviously.
Yep.
Play stood.
Yeah, you can't challenge. I don't think you can go to a view if you challenge a play like that.
No, I think they did actually look at it.
They can't do that still?
Well, I'm not sure, but the play stood. Like, the touchdown stood.
Okay.
I'm not sure what came of it. I just know he lost a timeout, but that is the most John Gruden thing of the whole entire season.
Yeah. There's one there, though. If you challenge a play that's automatically reviewed, I don't know the circumstances, but it's automatically cannot be reviewed.
Wow. Okay.
I don't know if you're trying to say coach is an idiot, but that's the thing.
No,
That's the thing.
John Gruden, you had one job, okay? You may already be worse than Lovie Smith at challenges. Biggest overreaction?
The Jaguars took back their powers from the Bears.
I was the dumbest man in town when I put the Panthers in the contender cart 4 weeks ago.
They're on 5.
Yes, since then they have not won a game. So we'll go to a little college football talk. A lot of stuff going on here. Maybe the craziest story of the weekend. On the same exact field that Tua Tagovailoa relieved Jalen Hurts to come back and beat Georgia to win a national title. Jalen Hurts comes in to relieve Tua Tagovailoa and beat the Georgia Bulldogs, this time to win an SEC title game. What do you make of this improbable story?
Isn't it amazing how sports are just like movies, the way the shit works out?
Oh, yeah.
Like the first time Clemson won national title beating Alabama, Dabo Swinney came for nothing but the program from the ground up, boom, that's the title. I got Peyton Manning, awful title last season. One Super Bowl was smaller than anybody else, falls into the sunset, boom, in a movie. Jalen Hurts comes back full circle to this game, down by 14, 21, like that?
Yeah.
Came back, won the game by 7. boom, movie. And then after the game, you hear about how last season he cried with his parents about what he would do now, and he decided her dad said they're going to fight, and now this happened. This is why you don't transfer. This is why you just toughen up and you focus on other aspects of your life, like the actual school, and then your moment comes and it works out.
Yeah, this is crazy. Like, this is the movie that they make that you're just sitting there in the movie theater and you say, this shit could never happen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and it's not that he just beat him with his legs. Like, he looked awesome throwing the ball. Like, I don't even think that, like, 100% healthy Tua Tagovailoa could have done this. Like, 7 of 9 passing, 82 yards, 1 touchdown, 28 yards rushing, 1 rushing touchdown. Like, Tua could not have done that in that time. So it's crazy, especially for how bad Tua had looked leading up to this point in the game. Just absolutely insane. And I think the Sooners are probably the biggest Jalen Hurts fans at this time.
They do. They're huge fans of Jalen Hurts right now. But Tua, they put out for 2 weeks. They play in like 3.5 weeks. Tua's team, Jalen will say that. Jalen now had a perfect out for anything ever. No, it's Tua's team, but I be better than they need me. And boom, like, no one can ever doubt him again.
Yeah, I think this showed like a little nick in the armor. You know, like Tua has looked just phenomenal, and over the past few weeks, it seems like he's come back to earth, and it seems like he's come back to earth in like a real weird way.
Didn't he hurt his quad or something about 3 or 4 weeks ago?
I think it started with like a little bang up of his knee, and then it was his quad. Now it's his ankle. Like there's a lot of stuff going on here,
Yeah.
and it makes me.
It seems like he's not 100% healthy.
Yeah, Alabama fans should legitimately be worried. Like, I legitimately think they should be worried, because if that guy goes back out there and starts off like 2 of 25 again in a big game, you know, if they have to play Clemson, the game's going to be out of reach at that point.
Yeah, but he said they get 3 weeks off. He should be able to get healthy enough in the 3 weeks.
Yeah. So other games around the league, Championship Sunday, Clemson absolutely destroys Pitt. Oklahoma gets revenge on Texas. Ohio State knocks off powerhouse Northwestern, and UCF comes from behind to beat Memphis without their starting quarterback. Which team did you think impressed you the most this weekend?
Well, I mean, it has to be UCF, right? They came back down from, I think, 17 down at one point, maybe 21 down at one point. But Clemson did what they're supposed to do, destroyed Pitt. Oklahoma beat Texas. Ohio State knocked off Northwestern. It has to be UCF. They stepped up big in a game where they were down out in the first half, came back, 3 points in the entire second half, and looked like the much better team, and really a team who deserves to be on that giant national stage.
No, I agree. I think that there were 2 really impressive teams this weekend. One, in its aspects of the game, in my opinion, like Oklahoma. I actually said last week that I thought that their defense would step up in a big way. Oklahoma, 96th ranked defense in the NCAA, had given up 40 points in 5 games this season, held Texas to 27. And Oklahoma offense actually scored their 3rd fewest point total of the whole entire season and was still able to find a way to win the game. So that was really big for them. And like you said, UCF came from behind to 17 points. And if you want to say, they were down to 17 to Memphis, like, this was a team that came in there just shook, realizing that their guy, Mackenzie Milton, was not going to be playing. They came in shook, got smacked in the face, came back, won the game. This shows that they are a really, really good team. Like, they outscored Memphis 35-3 in the second half. 6 touchdowns on 8 plays or less in drives.
Yeah.
Think about that. That is unbelievable to be able to score that fast. And it makes me think, like, I understand that Memphis isn't a top-notch defense, but, like, if they're scoring that fast on Memphis, like, they could score with anybody in the country.
Yeah, no, like I said, that was a impressive game by them. Like, they touched the second half. They looked down in the water after the first quarter, but the locker room rallied the troops, and they came out and beat the shit out of Memphis.
Yeah.
For the last 30 minutes of the game. Yeah.
So stage is set. College football playoff. Number 1, Alabama. Number 2, Clemson. Number 3, Notre Dame. And number 4, Oklahoma. Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, UCF. They get to watch from home. Do you think that the committee got it right?
I don't like it. I don't like it at all, honestly, but I do think they got it right. I think the 3 best teams in the country are Alabama, Clemson, and Georgia. I think those 3 by a large margin than anybody else. I'm not sure how I feel about Notre Dame at all about any aspect of their football right now. They didn't look great at all against USC. And then Oklahoma didn't hit top anybody. And then at the same time, they could have had just 4 undefeated teams in the first time they ever didn't do that either. So for those reasons, I didn't like it.
That would be the only time that they would ever get 4 undefeated teams.
Exactly, yeah. And so I don't like it because of, the Georgia being better than Notre Dame and Oklahoma, UCF being undefeated. I don't like it for those reasons. But they did get it right because Oklahoma did win their conference during the championship game. Georgia did lose there, lost 2 losses. Oklahoma did bump up. But I don't like it. But I think they did get it right in the end.
Yeah, I think
they did what was consistent for them all season, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, as far as their consistency for the season, I agree. But, everybody wants to disrespect UCF. They're an 8-point underdog against LSU. Okay? Just think about this for a minute. And follow this. 8-point underdog against LSU. LSU waxed Georgia earlier this season. Texas is an 11-point underdog against Georgia. So you have to think that if UCF with a healthy Mackenzie Martin may be favored over Texas.
Yeah.
There's a very, very good possibility they'd be favored, if not just to pick them. I couldn't imagine that spread would be any more than 3 points. I don't understand that because the only people that don't realize that UCF is a good team are the only people that matter. And I think that that's absolutely terrible. And if you look at the College Football Playoff Committee, all up and down, just even outside of the top 4, they have just fudged this whole thing up. I mean, all you have to do is just look as far as Washington and LSU. Run through this with me. Washington, who lost to 2 Pac-12 teams, who were in the bottom half of the Pac-12, and Auburn, who didn't even have a winning record in the SEC. They leapfrogged LSU with an identical record. They both had the 3 losses. But the difference is they didn't lose to 2 Pac-12 bottom feeders and SEC bottom feeder. They lost to number 1, number 10, and number 19. Those losses are way better than what Washington has, okay? So if you value how good of a loss you had, the committee completely backsteps on that. Then you look at their wins. LSU has the most impressive win, maybe the most impressive win in the country, over number 5 Georgia. And they also beat number 18 Mississippi State. Washington beat number 13 Washington State and number 17 Utah twice. So for the wins, the big wins, advantage LSU. Then you look at common opponents, okay? If you don't value wins, you don't value the losses. Let's see if you value who they played, that they both played. LSU played Auburn, beat Auburn. Washington played Auburn, lost. What in the hell are they looking at? You want to go conferences? Who plays in the tougher conference? Okay, so Washington, they did have a little bit of a better conference record. They went 7-2, where LSU went 5-3. But the Pac-12 in non-conference games this season, 21-8. The SEC, 46-6. And the SEC West alone, which LSU is in and has to play, 5 of those 7 teams went undefeated in non-conference play. One of the teams that lost was Texas A&M, who should have beat Clemson had the officials called the game correctly. So you could possibly be looking at a team who played that had to play 5 other undefeated teams in non-conference with a big win over Clemson, and they leapfrog LSU. How does that make any sense at all?
Because they played one more game.
That's
all I could come up with.
That's it. I mean, wins, losses. What are you looking at? I absolutely don't understand that. And then they have Texas, 1 spot against WVU. Texas is 9-4. WVU is 8-3. WVU beat Texas, and Texas is 1 spot above them. I don't understand this. You look at their losses, they both lost to Oklahoma. They both lost to Oklahoma State. I guess the difference is that Iowa State was able to beat WVU, and Texas only lost to Maryland.
As a matter of fact, I looked at Texas today, and that's all. I understand that, game from back in September from game previously, but I looked at that exact thing today. I looked at that exact what you set up.
That doesn't make any sense.
Yep.
I do not understand what's going on here. So, anything else that we have a problem with in the committee? Did you see anything else that was really flawed?
I got a hell of an issue, actually.
Okay, let's hear it.
I know that the committee doesn't decide the New Year's 6 bowl games. I understand that that's done by people who pay for the bowl games and the ratings.
They don't pick the matchups?
The committee does not know. I don't think so.
No, they absolutely can't because then UCF would be playing in like they'd be playing in their backyard. They'd be playing a home game in like the Tax Slayer Bowl.
So I understand all that stuff, but hear me out. Texas is 9-4. The last 2 games, they beat Kansas by 7 and lost to Oklahoma. They're currently ranked 15th in the college football playoff, which is fine. Huge step for the program. They were a good team this year. 15th is an okay ranking. But it's also a big year for Kentucky. Kentucky is ahead of them right now. Penn State is ahead of them right now. Texas is playing in a New Year's Six Bowl game, ranked 15th in the country. Meanwhile, Washington State is 10-2, losing to Washington. If not, they'd be ranked in the top 7 teams.
Oh, dude, they may have made the playoff.
And instead, they're playing in the Alamo Bowl, which is played in Texas. So I understand that rating and Texas has a humongous fan base, but do you know that in bowl games, Texas is 28-24 all time?
Are you serious?
That's it.
No, but we only look at one, Leighton.
4 national titles, 20-24 all the time.
We only look at one, and that's the win against USC, and they've been riding off of that since it happened.
Yeah, Washington State deserve to be in a New Year's Six Bowl game. They deserve it all year long. Georgia should be playing Michigan in the Peach Bowl. Washington State should be playing Florida in the Sugar Bowl. And they're getting off that take. Another thing I have a problem with, I'm really, really, really tired in the era of the college football playoff, the Rose Bowl bullshit of having the Big Ten champion and the Pac-12 champion. How bad do you want to see Georgia Ohio State? They're not be the best cemetery bowl game you could think of.
Yeah, I mean, as far as teams that are left out, 5 and 6 make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah, exactly. So, if it wasn't for the Rose Bowl's rule, Pac-12 Ohio State, that could happen. You could also have a game where Georgia plays Michigan, but it's all the conference rules, so we're going to have another conference champion. And I think that's why Texas got into that bowl game because they're the next best team in the Big 12. And Oklahoma are playing the playoff. I think that's the rule for the Peach Bowl bowl game they're in.
Yeah, but okay, imagine this. You ready? Imagine if Northwestern would have beat Ohio State.
They'd be playing Washington in the Rose Bowl.
That would have been abysmal.
Yeah, it would have been abysmal, but that's just the way it would have worked out.
Yeah, I do agree with you. I think that needs to be fixed. I think that 5 and 6 should automatically play each other.
Yeah, before the Rose Bowl, before the playoff started, they had all the bowl games, 6 or 8 bowl games. That was fine because then you had the Orange Bowl as always, SEC, and somebody else, and then the Pac-12, Big Ten. But now it's all fucked up because the college playoffs they played 2 bowl games essentially.
Yeah, if the NCAA was in charge of the MLB, they would still be doing just a regular season. Whoever won that, that's the way it's always been. So we're just going to keep it that way. And best 2 teams in the regular season play in the World Series.
Yep.
That would seriously be what it would come down to.
Another gripe that I've just determined that I have is why do the college football playoff even have to have bowl games in the first 2 games? Why can't it just be the playoff?
I agree.
That's way more money.
Yeah, I agree.
And you can have, Washington State, who was ranked number 8 2 weeks ago, be in New Year's Six Bowl game.
Yeah,
Texas is number 15. Penn State, Kentucky, Washington State, always ahead of them.
Yeah, Washington State is number 13 with a 10-2 record, and just because they lost to Washington, who now they're valuing more than like Florida, LSU.
LSU, exactly. We just bitched about for 10 minutes. Jumped to LSU, and Washington State is ranked. Well, they ranked 13th.
Yeah.
Somehow fell 5 spots, and now the Alamo Bowl game. They play the Alamo Bowl against Iowa State.
And you know how I was complaining about Texas and West Virginia and how they're ranked right beside each other, but yet Texas got the nod and West Virginia beat them. It looks like what they did with the Florida LSU thing. They just looked at it and they were like, "Oh yeah, Florida beat LSU, so we'll rank them above them."
Yeah. It makes no sense, man.
No, it makes absolutely no sense. God, I could not. I could go on for. We could have a whole podcast of this.
It's really pissing me off because Georgia's going to destroy Texas in that game.
Oh yeah, dude. No, 11 points is not enough points. They will beat Texas by 20 plus.
Georgia's going to evaluate. Why not put Georgia against Michigan?
That would be a lot more fun.
They'll play the Peach Bowl in Georgia.
Yeah.
And then Florida can play Washington State Sugar Bowl in New Orleans instead of Texas. But no, this is how it's going to work out. Georgia, Texas, Sugar Bowl, New Orleans. Makes a lot of sense.
And you know what else? I do have one more little gripe here. You know how everybody wants to make it an 18 playoff?
Yeah.
Okay. If LSU did not lose to A&M and they would have beaten A&M, UCF would be out of an 18 playoff. They would be a 10-2 SEC team
Consistent. Yeah.
with a win over number 5.
If they weren't stay consistent, they would have been in the playoffs. You're right.
Yeah. UCF would not have it had and that game should have been over. Like there were points in that game that it was a millimeter away from being completely over. LSU wins that game. If we had an 18 playoff and LSU was able to pull that off, UCF would still be on the outside looking in, which is absolutely atrocious.
One more gripe, actually, I thought about.
No, I'll stay on this all day.
Actually, I thought about this like 2 weeks ago. I didn't say it 'cause I want to see what happened. Notre Dame. What was the Big 12's drawback?
Oh, I have another gripe too. So
Okay, well,
let's just keep going.
Notre Dame. What was the Big 12 problem with getting in the playoff up until this
They
season?
did not have a title game.
So why does Notre Dame, who doesn't play teams as good as a team in the Big 12 play, take a whole week off and stay at number 3 in the country?
They don't get penalized, man. Like, had this been the Big 12, dude, remember whenever 2 Big 12 teams got hijacked of getting into the playoff?
They didn't have a play. They can't play each other.
Everybody came in and said, yep, there wasn't a title game. Had there been a title game, one Big 12 team would have made it. I do not understand that because now they're valuing that. And you look at Michigan, okay, obviously, okay, out of all the undefeated teams, like everybody wants to come in and say, well, Michigan, you know, the only reason they have 2 losses is because they played 2 really, really good teams. You know, that's why they're still ranked above UCF. Their losses are great. Out of the 3 undefeated teams, which one is valued the least?
Notre Dame.
Okay. Out of the 1-loss teams in the NCAA, which one is valued the least?
Ohio State, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, they're even ranked below Georgia with 2 losses.
Yeah.
So how in the hell can you come in and say that that matters? Like that those are great, phenomenal losses. Like you do not value those teams. Otherwise, you would prove so in your rankings. If you think Notre Dame's that damn good, put them at 2. If you put them at 2, then I'll buy into the fact that Michigan may be ranked above them. You know?
Do you think that the fact... I don't know. It makes no sense to me how Notre Dame's ranked 3 overall. Notre Dame undefeated, that's fine. That's great. You play some good teams. But the Big 12's thing forever had been they don't play that 13th game or that 14th game.
Yeah, no, it was to prove a point to make more money.
They don't have it.
It was to prove a point to make more money.
Yeah. Notre Dame, back in the BCS era, it was fine that they weren't in a conference because it was computerized. It is what it was. But now, in a playoff, in the world of the playoff, where people vote on it, you gotta be in a conference.
Yes.
You can't have one fewer chance to lose. And it's not one. It's not. No.
Make a championship of the
Winning does
independents.
not matter. We know that now.
No.
Winning is irrelevant. It's how many chances you have to lose. Not how many games can you win. How many chances do you have to lose? Notre Dame gets one off every year. Notre Dame, they could play shit teams go 13-0 with being in a playoff. It's Notre Dame.
Yeah, and I don't even know if it's how many times do you have a chance to lose because you look at Kentucky, like, if they value an underdog team, I mean, God, dude, this team was an underdog in every single game, and they went 9-3, and they were one of the least valued 9-3 teams in the country.
We had Texas.
They are ranked ahead of Texas. They should be ranked ahead of Texas. Man, this gets me fired up. Do me a favor. Pull up what the BCS rankings would be because somebody still calculates all the BCS rankings and stuff. So I would like to see what the BCS would have and see if they're smarter than these people that sit in a room. They have been nothing but inconsistent, and I think this is going to wrap me up for this.
Ready for this?
Okay.
Okay.
BCS rankings, everybody.
This is actually astonishing. Number 1, Alabama. 2, Clemson. 3, Notre Dame. And those are all by 0.07 points, which is huge. And then you got 5, Georgia. 6, Ohio State.
It was 4.
4, Oklahoma. Sorry.
Okay.
5, Georgia. 6, Ohio State. 7, UCF. 8, Michigan. 9, Washington. 10, LSU. 11, Florida. Texas is 16th in that one.
Behind West Virginia.
Is ahead of Texas by 1 spot.
So exactly what I said.
So, yeah.
So the BCS might have made more sense.
Yeah, what's another? Okay, so one more thing, then we'll probably go on to the fun stuff. But whenever they made the 14 playoff, everybody thought, okay, we wouldn't have an issue anymore. we have the issue now. What is so wrong with using the BCS numbers, particularly the top 14 and putting them in?
Absolutely nothing.
Why was that impossible
Absolutely
to do?
nothing. They needed more people on the payroll.
Why did it take like 5 years to develop this idea? Like get 13 people in a room and have them vote top 3, start with 13 and vote down to the split?
I have no idea.
I don't know, I feel like something here people simplify. Like 18 playoff can't be that hard to do either.
No, an 18 playoff wouldn't be hard, and you can even just use the BCS model to do this.
Yeah, you know what? If it's all about using bowl games for the playoff too, use all the bowl games for it. I don't care.
Yeah.
It gets me 18 in the playoff. 18 in the playoff.
Yeah, and you know, right before this had started, before we got to this point with the 14 playoff, like the year before they did it, everybody was like, "Oh yeah, it'll give the you know the outside teams a chance to make it in." That's a lie. If I would have told you whenever they first implemented the playoffs in 2018, we will have 4 undefeated teams, and they're the only 4 undefeated teams in the country. Should they make it in? Everybody, I don't care who you are, would have given you a resounding yes. Because that's the way it should be done.
Yeah, and that's one of those things, you know, so not going to happen. There's never been an undefeated team win a title before because like maybe one gets there a year. So they have 4. They got 4 finally. Think, okay, no brainer. It's not a no brainer because one happened to be UCF. If it's Oklahoma, fine, but it wasn't.
And don't take a guess on how good these teams are. Put them against each other. You want in, get in. And this will be the only team. Mark my words. This will be the only time that we have 4 teams that are undefeated in college football. And it's gonna, if it does happen again, it'll be like once every 10 years.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just going to be a huge rarity. Just because like there is a lot of parity, you know, outside of like Alabama, Clemson, there's a lot of parity in college football. So I think this is going to be a huge rarity, and especially now that everybody plays a title game. But I just do not understand how a team can go 2 straight years without losing a game and be left out both times, especially after last year. You put them in a game to prove a point. You put them up, UCF. You put UCF up against Auburn, who beat they were the only team in the country to beat both teams that played in the national title game. They beat Georgia. They beat they beat Georgia. They beat Alabama, and UCF went in there and beat them. Beat them. How in the hell can you do this again? They're trying to do the same thing again. Put a big statement on it. We're going to give them LSU. LSU is the only team. I mean, they're one of the only teams. They're the only team other than Bama to beat Georgia. Georgia's the best team left out. They're trying to prove a point again. If UCF pulls this off, the committee should all be gone, and they need to restart, build from the ground up. 8 teams, put unbiased people into the committee, get rid of the whole conference bullshit and who you have to play, wipe out the slate on conference games. Like, don't even worry about that anymore. Just because these guys were put in a conference 100 years ago doesn't mean it should come back in 2018 and bite them in the ass just because the funding and revenue, and it's all about money now. Because that's the only reason these teams aren't in other conferences.
Because one team turned out to be Alabama, another team turned out to be Furman.
Yeah.
Yeah,
don't penalize these teams, and it makes no sense to me. So let's talk about the Heisman. I'm about to go crazy. 2018 Heisman. We had the finalists got announced. We have Dwayne Haskins. We have Tua Tagovailoa, Kyler Murray. I'm still fired up. Who's gonna win?
So first off, they nailed it. The top 3 guys. As soon as I saw that, it has to be Haskins, Murray, Tagovailoa. I think Kyler Murray's going to win it, though. Tagovailoa, like you said, had a pretty shaky last 3 or 4 games. Kyler Murray leads the nation in yards. Team's in the playoff. He basically looks like shootable for the Heisman right now.
Yeah, I do agree with Kyler Murray. You know, you just look at the numbers, man. Like, he is responsible for 6. Oklahoma, how do they win games?
Score points.
They have to score points. And, dude, the guy is responsible for 66% of the offense. I ran the numbers today. Oklahoma, outside of Kyler Murray, 2,600 yards. They have mustered 2,600 yards for the team that Kyler Murray was not responsible for. Kyler Murray was responsible for 4,945 yards of total offense, passing the ball at 11.9 yards per attempt, leads the country in that, 7 rushing yards per attempt, 892 rushing yards, 11 touchdowns, 40 passing touchdowns, 7 interceptions. played at the biggest stages. He's just completely been dominant. And he's a guy that if you take him off that team, and I hate to do this on some points, if you take him off the team's a 500 team. They are terrible without Kyler Murray. They aren't scoring 50 points a game. It has to be him.
It does.
But I think Tagovailoa is going to win it.
I don't think he's not. He's not a favorite anymore according to Vegas.
He's not?
Kyler Murray's not a favorite to win the Heisman Trophy.
He is the favorite. Good. He
Kyler
should
Murray's
be.
now. Correct too. I'm really excited though to see after how they do the voting. They release the top 10 people. I'm really interested to see where Will Greer is at and where Gardner Minshew from Washington State's at.
Yeah.
Do you think Minshew gets in the top 5? Okay, he probably should. He literally in passing yards.
Yeah, Minshew should definitely be in. Like, the guy has been an absolute stud all season. He was in the... Had they won the game at Washington, he would have gotten this call. He would have been there. If they would have beat Washington, he would be at this
ceremony. He
ceremony.
would have had 4 finalists in that game. Full finalists.
I think Minshew's one of the biggest snubs. And another one is a man who plays in the same conference as UCF. Darrell Henderson, running back from Memphis, put on an absolute clinic against UCF. He's a phenomenal running back. 1,900 rushing yards, 8.9 yards per carry, 22 touchdowns. 22 touchdowns. That's just running the ball. As far as through the air, let me pull up his stats real quick. But 1,900 rushing yards, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
22 touchdowns, and he's running the ball 8.9 yards per attempt. What more does the guy have to do to get a call to be a Heisman candidate? I think that's probably the biggest snub this season.
I can understand why they only invite the top 3 or 4 dudes. Well, it's where the voting splits off by a percentage. That's where it's at. But why does it take the top 5 guys? Just
take the top 5. Make the guy's day.
Can I afford the meal?
Yeah, you can't afford the meal. You can't afford to fly him out there. I understand not everybody needs a participation trophy, but the top 5 guys for your Heisman candidacy deserve to go.
Not to see him on TV. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Minshew's a snub. I think Will Greer's a snub. I think Henderson's a snub. So I pulled it up what he has through the air, averaging 15.5 yards per reception, 3 touchdowns on the season. He has 2,200 yards of offense, 25 touchdowns, and he does not get a call to be a Heisman candidate. Just because you want to keep UCF out doesn't mean the guy doesn't deserve to go be a Heisman candidate.
Yeah, I don't know what UCF did to this full thing. They didn't do anything. They just happened to break the mold.
They win games.
UCF broke the mold. Back in Boise State and TCU did it, a whole different deal. BCS liked them, but now UCF did it, and it's just so different.
Yeah, I don't understand it. All right, so let's go ahead and move to something that's probably not going to fire me up as much. I had pitched the idea to Leighton C before we came on, and we decided to play a game. It is called Is It a Bowl Game? So basically, I'm going to read off the names of bowls. I'm going to read off the name of fake bowls that I have created, and Leighton C is supposed to decide whether or not this is a bowl game. So we're going to take a little hiatus from darts. We're going to run through quite a few of these because this will be fun, quick, something that we can do. All right, so number 1 on our slate, we have the Bad Boy Mowers Gasparilla Bowl of St. Petersburg.
That has to be fake.
That is a real bowl game. It is a bowl game. It started in 2017.
What is it?
The Bad Boy Mowers Gasparilla Bowl of St. Petersburg. So it started in 2017, and it is a current bowl game.
All right. Who's playing it this year?
I'll actually have to look that up. I don't know who plays in it this year.
Probably no one good.
I don't know. I actually didn't write down the teams that are playing in these because some of them are of bowls past. I would imagine that this would probably be the first bowl game on the list, but I cannot find it. So you were wrong.
I was wrong.
So number 2, we have Beef Eaters Boise Bowl. Game is played in Boise, Idaho.
That's not a bowl game.
That is not a bowl game.
Beefeater, no way Beefeater can sponsor a bowl game.
No way Beefeater?
No
You don't
way.
think Beefeater could sponsor a bowl game? I think they could. I think that'd be actually awesome. Okay, this is a very, very interesting name. So, Mothers of Mississippi American Bowl. Game is played in Jackson, Mississippi. Mothers of America.
I will go with yes.
Mothers of America, Mississippi, or Mothers of Mississippi American Bowl is not a bowl game.
See, I figured the mothers get together, have a lot of power, they get something like that going.
No, moms can get shit done, but I don't know if they could convince the NCAA to make a bowl
Yeah,
game.
bowl game. Okay, so what? I'm 1 for 2 here. 1 for 3.
1 for 2. So this is actually one of my favorite names of bowl games. Beans Bowl, presented by Bush, San Antonio, Texas.
Oh, hope it's a bowl game.
Is it, or is it not a bowl game?
I'm gonna go with yes. I have hope.
It is not a bowl game, latency. The Beans Bowl, presented by Bush, that was something that I had made up. So you are now 1 for 3.
That's a great name for a bowl.
Okay, bowl number, I guess this would be 5? You're 1 for 3? Poland Weed Eater Independence Bowl in Shreveport.
What was that?
Poland Weed Eater Independence Bowl.
No.
That is, in fact, a bowl game.
Poland Weed Eater is not a fucking bowl game.
Poland Weed Eater Independence Bowl is, in fact, a bowl game. I don't know where Shreveport is. I think that's Mississippi, right? But it is actually, it was a bowl game from 1991 to 1997. All right. So the Duck Commander Independence Bowl.
Duck Commander. I think that's a hunting brand. I'm gonna go with that. Is a bowl game.
It is a bowl game.
Yes.
In fact, the Duck Commander Independence Bowl is also in Shreveport, and that was only played in 2014. One hit wonder, and I wonder why. All right, Salad Bowl in Phoenix, Arizona.
No.
The Salad Bowl was actually a bowl game in 1947 to 1955. The Salad Bowl in Phoenix, Arizona was in fact a bowl game.
That's a bowl game dropped out. The Cotton Bowl, Orange Bowl, Village Bowl. They can't keep the salad.
Yeah.
They threw that one out.
Drop the
They
salad.
brought back a Fiesta Bowl a few years later. Kind of more exciting.
Okay, next bowl game. So how many? Have you only got 2 of these right?
I think I got about 2 for 6 right now.
Yeah, I think you're like 2 for 6.
Or 2 and 6, yeah.
So the Sandusky Summer Camp Bowl
Nope.
in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Nope.
You don't think that's
I
a bowl
do
game?
not think that Dusky. No, I do not.
It is in fact not a bowl game.
No way.
Okay, we'll do last one here. Popeye's Bahamas Bowl. Played in the Bahamas.
No.
In fact, it was a bowl game.
You know what?
2014 to 2016.
I think that's the best consolation prize they're making the playoff for playing in the Bahamas. Could that be a fun ass trip to take?
Yeah, that Bahamas Bowl was whenever Central Michigan pulled off that like huge they came from behind and like they had that play that should have been called dead and never got called dead. It was like a Hail Mary where the guy's knee hit and stuff. Yeah, that was actually a bowl game. So I think Leighton C actually went 3 for 7 in Is It a Bowl?
Yeah, I was 3 and 7 there. Definitely not looking good, but hey, still better than Hugh Jackson.
Yes, that is true. So that was kind of fun. I enjoyed that. We'll have to bring that one up whenever we. We'll do it at the end of bowl season again, because there are a lot of crazy bowl names. Maybe my favorite was the Salad Bowl. So we'll go ahead and transition gears here now that my blood pressure's down a little bit. Had a little fun there. We'll talk a little bit about the NBA. Leighton C, last week we talked about the Raptors being the best team in the NBA and how we do not buy into the Clippers, who lead the West. Since we last talked, the Raptors have not lost a game, and the Clippers still are tied for first place. Are we changing our take?
No, I'm not changing my take. The Clippers, they have been playing really good basketball. Tobias Harris, first just talked about how he might be the most improved player of the year. Kind of looks like that right now, but I'm still going to step on them the giant pretender tag. 1 week in NBA, they're now only play 3 games a week now, not 4 or 5, not what it used to be. I do think the Warriors still be the class of the Western Conference. Steph Curry came back this past weekend, lost their game to the Pistons, but he'll get back in less than a month. No.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to change my take. I still think the Raptors are the best team in the NBA, and I still think that the Clippers are going to be that team that's going to be, at the end of the season, like a 6 to 8 seed. I think I'm leaning more towards like 6 and 7 seed now, though, which is kind of weird to say for the Clippers. But I still think this is a team that's just an effort team.
Yeah.
Once the playoffs roll around, like they're going to beat they're going to be beat just because everybody's effort's going to be equal. The only difference is that their talent just does not match the effort.
See, right now, in my opinion, there are two teams coming that are really good. Denver Nuggets and the Golden State Warriors. Granted, the gap like the Grand Canyon between the two teams. But for a consistency basis, those two teams were consistent all year long, making the top 3 seeds basically all year, maybe the first couple of days. And the Clippers and the Lakers, Fletcher denounced this on last week's podcast, but the Clippers could be better than the Lakers all season. The Lakers do have, better young stars. They do have LeBron James, best player on the planet. But the Clippers are playing so well together. And the Lakers, they'll win 3, but then they'll go ahead and lose 2, and then they'll win 3, lose 2. And that kind of consistency won't get you a higher seed. It'll keep you right at the 5 or 6 range. So I could get Clippers getting a 4 seed in the playoffs. Especially with,
how awesome would that be, like a 4-5 matchup with the Clippers and the Lakers, and they don't even have to. They can sleep in their bed every single night.
That would be actually pretty neat. But especially with how the Pelicans aren't playing great, the Rockets are absolutely awful. The Trailblazers, Spurs, Grizzlies, all kind of all over the place. The Clippers are playing good basketball right now, and they're playing in a way with Gallinari and Harris to where it's not hero ball at all. Lou Williams looking really good too. They could keep this up and be a 3 or 4 seed, I think.
Yeah, oh man, that'd be tough. I would love to see like a 4-5 matchup, Lakers Clippers, and that would be pretty fun to watch. But I could never see the Clippers beating LeBron James in 7 games.
No,
like,
it wouldn't happen.
LeBron James plus me, you, Fletch, and B-Rock, we would probably still be able to win.
No, it would not happen. But regular season, possible.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree there. So Kevin Durant dropped 40 points in 3 straight games this week, including a 51-point game against the Raptors, who we were saying was the best team in the NBA. Took every bit of those points to keep the Warriors' head above water. Warriors are 4-7 in their last 11. Are the Warriors ready to hit the panic button?
They're ready to hit the what the fuck button.
Yeah. I don't think it's a panic button.
It's not
what the hell's going on.
It's not a panic issue. It's just why Kevin Durant scored 51 points and we're not winning games.
Yeah.
Like, this should, I understand it happens. Players will shoot 50 points and they lose games. But the Warriors should not lose a game, but Kevin Durant scored 51 points.
No, I agree.
Even without Steph Curry, without Boogie Cousins, still have Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, Iguodala, Sean Livingston out there. They're good enough.
Well, even in one of those, you wipe the Raptors game off. In those 40-point games, I'm pretty sure they still lost to the Kings by 1.
Yeah, and I'm going to have to about this on Wednesday, so let's get prepared for this. Steve Kerr's coaching job, it's not a hot seat by any means at all, but has he just been a product of those great players right now? Right now he's struggling.
Yeah, a product of great players that were also best of friends.
Is it possible to look at a stat line where Kansas with 51 points and they lose the game, and without looking at the coach? It's impossible to do that.
They need to bring in Mike Tomlin.
Mike Tomlin will get him straight.
Yeah, Mike Tomlin would line him out.
Straight.
I really do think that Mike Tomlin would be able to like mold this together. Like he's been like the ultimate players coach. Like one of our maybe our best player on the team doesn't want to be here. We'll just go like 7-3 and just continue to grind. Like I don't understand where they're at.
I know what's wrong.
You look at like whenever Luke Walton was there, though, like he had tremendous success with those players. So I think Steve Kerr is in a little over his head, probably just trying to get all those personalities to mold. But if they can get that right, like I don't think there's a panic button with this team. It's like, hey, as long as you guys get along for 2 months of the playoffs, we'll be fine.
Yeah, and I think a big part of it is like we don't know Kevin Durant's a bitch, burner account. Could be a hand around him, all that stuff. Total bitch. I think the players on the team are kind of becoming aware of that he's just a bitch, and they're kind of tired of the tough guy act because they know he's not one. But I think what's happening is they're bringing in John Gruden for some pump-up talks because he's the coach in Oakland now.
Oh, yeah.
They can't get Mike Tomlin across the country. Next best thing, John Gruden. John Gruden's trying to do a great job with these guys.
Yeah, I really feel like that if, Raiders were to fire John Gruden mid-season, Mike Tomlin move over there to the Oakland Raiders job, things may turn around for Oakland. But I don't think they are. So another team a lot of people believed that would be playing the Warriors in the NBA title game, now on pace to actually finish 46-36. They only lost 27 games a season ago, sit at 13-10 now. And all they did was really just add 2 All-Stars. Are we worried about the Celtics' early season struggles?
I'm starting to become worried about the season struggles. 12, 15 games in, I thought, okay, it's fine. Gordon Hayward destroyed his leg last year, taking him right up to speed. 27 games in now, Gordon Hayward had looked good at times, but like maybe 1 or 2 times this season he's looked good. And Jason Tatum not playing like he did that in the playoffs. Kyrie Irving not playing great. There's only look at Brad Stevens. You gotta look at him now and say, what are you gonna do to fix this? Because you have the players around you. There's no excuse for you not to be leading the Eastern Conference or not be at least top 2 or 3 teams in the conference right now. No reason for you to be playing like you're playing. No reason to be far behind 76ers. Fletcher is not worried about them. Therefore, I'm not worried about them. But I'm starting to look at this team and think, all right, Brad, you got to pull some kind of string here. Jaylen Brown sucking dick. Make it work.
Yeah, see, I don't really think I'm worried about this team. Like, I think Brad Stevens is a good enough coach that, like, whenever they get, once they get some time off, like the All-Star break or something like that, like, they're going to keep their heads above water until then. Brad Stevens will be able to get this team to gel. He's a smart enough coach to figure out what's working, what's not. This is just kind of, I feel like, had this team not had Kyrie Irving and Gordon Hayward to start the season last year, and like it was like they signed him in the offseason, which is basically what kind of happened with this team. Kyrie did play last season, but it was kind of like hit or miss. Mm-hmm. I don't think anybody would really be fazed. They would just say, okay, we saw this before with the Heat. Whenever LeBron came, we've seen this time and time again. Whenever you add new good players, like it takes some time to mold. And Brad Stevens isn't even proof of it. Like Brad Stevens isn't even like adding players proof.
Yeah.
So I think that this is just kind of what happens in the NBA. Takes time to get gelled together. Ultimately, I think that the Celtics are going to be okay. But what do you think? Who do you think should be more worried at this point of the season, Warriors or Celtics?
I'm going to go with the Celtics because the Warriors have had the same, all-pro players and it's worked. The Celtics added 2 all-star players and it's not working. So I think that it will figure out there. I think they will be fine in the end. But I'm way more worried for the Celtics because they have added totally new pieces, not just rebuff the old ones.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. It's basically the same team from last year. Like, at some point, things are going to start to click. Hopefully, they can get along. And it's more of, like, I think it's more of, like, a player personality issue rather than, like, a players gelling together issue, which I think that's kind of, in most cases, it's easier to fix once the playoffs roll around and you guys have a little bit of pride about them. So I think I'm less worried about the Warriors than the Celtics, but I think overall both will be okay come down the stretch.
So that'd be the only time ever where you have a team in first place in the conference being questioned this much in the Warriors.
No, I agree.
They're first place, like, the sky is falling. Like, no, they're still in first place.
No.
Or tied for first place, I guess.
I actually think that they're in second now.
Oh, they're in place?
I think they're in second now.
Okay, you're right. The sky is officially falling.
Yeah, the sky has fallen. So a little college hoops now. We'll keep it short and sweet, but man, one of the most impressive teams in the country, if not the most impressive team in the country, Michigan, pulled off 2 huge wins this week. 87-67, or 84-67 against number 11 ranked UNC. 76-57 against number 19 Purdue. They have now beaten Villanova, UNC, and Purdue by an average of 21 points and are now 8-0. Should we start to look at this team as the favorite to win the title? Seems like everybody wants to talk about Kansas. Everybody wants to talk about Gonzaga. Everybody wants to talk about Duke. Nobody's talking about Michigan. Do you think that they should be mentioned above the Leeds?
I don't think to be the favorite, but I like them more than I like Gonzaga and Duke. So second, I guess, is where I'm at with them. The 67 points they allowed against UNC, most allowed all season. They're allowing like 50 points a game, which is actually insane for basketball. I like them more than I like Gonzaga because, it's Gonzaga. They're going to get to the tournament, be a high seed, but they're going to flake out in the tournament. Just kind of like Virginia. Every year we see it. And I like them more than Duke because Duke only plays 8 guys 12 more minutes a game. Gonzaga's defense is for real, and if they can get those driving baskets against them, just give a hard time scoring, and contact takes away your energy. They'll play enough guys. So if Duke face Michigan and Duke's cold start the game out, I can see Duke having that game out of reach by halfway through the second half, just because they're so tired, and because Michigan could keep on the whole game.
Yeah, I love Michigan's brand of basketball. Like, it is so physical, and like NBA players would never buy into this. But like, they have a right group of talent. And the thing that most impresses me about this team is like, yeah, you can look at the rankings next to the teams that they've beaten, but like Roy Williams, Jay Wright, Matt Painter, those are 3 elite coaches. Mm-hmm. And 2 of them are national championship coaches. Matt Painter is as elite as you can be without winning a national title. He's just been a model of consistency basically since he walked on to West Lafayette. Those good coaches don't get blown out. They figure a way to kind of cut corners, figure something out, find a hole in the defense, whatever it is. They do not get blown out when the dust is settled. And they have been blowing really good coaches out. And that's a rarity in college basketball. Like, usually, like, you look at Duke. Whenever they lost to Gonzaga, they were getting beat up. Coach K, phenomenal coach. What does he do? He finds a way to figure it out. Nobody's been able to figure out this Michigan team. And until somebody does, I think they have to be your favorite. Yeah. I mean, we've seen Kansas, like, they played a tough game against Tennessee. Probably should have lost that game. I think Tennessee gave it to Kansas more than Kansas took it. But I really think that this team, if they're not your title favorite, they have to be in your top 3. They got moved up to 5 in the rankings, which I think is a huge smack in the face. The College Football Playoff Committee would be all over this. Who have you played? Who have you beaten? I don't understand that. I don't think that they've gotten any credit, really. Like, how much have you seen people talking about Michigan?
Not a lot. I remember one day I was watching TV on Bottom Line and it showed Michigan up by like freaking 30 against Villanova. I was like, whoa, how'd that happen? They just hound dogged them the whole game.
Yeah.
And like with Virginia plays tough defense, but just has slow on offense. Michigan just runs.
Yeah, they're good on both sides of the ball.
Michigan's conditioning is, Michigan plays 11 guys, not 8.
Yeah.
But their conditioning is still top notch.
Oh, dude, whenever they run into Duke, like, they're gonna Zion Williams is gonna be hands on his knees in the first 10 minutes of the game.
We're to keep up.
No.
And Zion's gonna get his because
Zion's phenomenal.
You're not gonna stop Zion Williamson, but you can't stop R.J. Barrett and Cam Reddish and Trey Jones. Yeah, you can because him to come into the lane or keep on tough on the perimeter.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, you have to think about it. Like, a guy like Zion Williams, he's 285 pounds, like, no body fat out of him at all. You know that guys like that do get tired if they have to run up and down the court over and over and over. And Michigan's going to do that to them. Like, yeah. Michigan will do that to that team. And I am really excited about Michigan this season. I think they have a very good team, and they're just not getting enough credit. Now that you've seen every team play a handful of games, what teams do we see that are flying under the radar that could potentially be the fly under the radar team, if you will?
Well, I'm going to go back to my Hawkeye UConn Huskies. Honestly, don't know how they're not ranked right now. The 6-2 beat Syracuse, have several really good wins. They did lose to Arizona, listed by 4 points. That's why they're not ranked. But look at them getting votes right now. Dan Hurley came over from Rhode Island. He's doing a really, really good job with the player we have right now. Jalen Adams looks like the player he was supposed to be the freshman and the senior now. Aside from the UConn team right now, they're really, really solid.
Yeah, I do agree with you there. I actually think UConn could be one of the fly under the radar teams. I do agree with you how they're not ranked. But I actually have a couple. And 2 teams that I really like just from a year ago. Tennessee, they are ranked in the top 10. And Nevada are also ranked in the top 10. But, I think they're better than what their ranking shows. I know that both are. I think actually Nevada still has not lost a game, but nobody's really talking about them. And they got the Martin twins back from a year ago, and Jordan Caroline, who is a huge part of that offense. Like, their 3 best players, they were I believe an Elite 8 team last year. Bring everybody back, and nobody wants to give them any credit for it. And then Tennessee, they play a really odd style of basketball where basically our big men are like 6'9", 6'6". But they're basically bowling balls out there, and they can actually shoot the 3 really, really well. They do have Admiral Schofield, who probably the best player on their team, but he wasn't even the SEC player of the conference last season, who is also on Tennessee. So they may have 2 of the best players as far as college players that have experience in the SEC, and I think that's going to pay dividends to them down the stretch. And I really do think that everybody's going to look at Tennessee and say, they got beat by Loyola last year. Loyola's kind of struggling, and kind of write them off. So I do think that there are two teams that are ranked in the top 10, but they're teams that should be looked at as national title contenders. So Saucy six-pack of games for Week 14 of the NFL season. We actually have a really juicy slate of games. Ravens at Chiefs. This is the Joe and Lamar game. Who do you think is going to win?
I actually going to take the Ravens here, going against the Chiefs. We talked about earlier how Kareem Hunt's gone home and get those easy points now. That defense Kansas City is still bad. I think Chiefs have hard to win this game. I see this game being like 24-21, lowest scoring game for the Chiefs. But I'm going with the Ravens in the gut pick.
Yeah, I'm actually going with the Ravens too, gut pick. I think that they do have the better defense, and I think they have a recipe to success against the Chiefs. Like, what are they going to do? They're going to control the ball. They're going to run it basically just like what the Cowboys did to the Saints. They're going to run the ball. They're going to control the clock. They're not going to turn the ball over. And then on defense, they're going to come out and smack you in the mouth, not give up the big play. And I really do think that if Lamar Jackson starts this game, the Ravens will win. I think the Chiefs are basically built just like the Saints, but the only difference is that they don't have the elite running backs, and they don't have a team that can stop the run. This team with Joe Flacco is the Ravens. The only reason they lost that game is because Justin Tucker missed an extra point. One of the biggest rarities in sports. I think the Ravens actually win. This will be a huge statement win for Lamar Jackson. Going to make every single Ravens fan buy in. Colts at Texans. Colts basically need to win to make the playoffs. Texans are looking for 10 straight after starting off 0-3. Who do you have?
Super Bowl champions. Texans.
This is one of those games that, like, something has to give. You know what I'm saying? Like, the Colts cannot continue to have, like, to go 8 straight quarters cold on offense. And the Texans cannot continue to win every single game that they go out there and play. I think where the Texans are kind of volatile, basically the only hole on their team outside of Bill O'Brien is the secondary. I think that Andrew Luck's going to be in for a very big game. I think this is going to be a very close game. It's going to be an ugly game, but I think that the Colts are going to give the Texans their first loss in 10 tries. Eagles at Cowboys. If the Eagles win tonight and can follow up with a win on Sunday, I don't know how they're looking tonight. I don't know if you'd seen it.
They were up 7 earlier. I can get up there.
Okay. So if the Eagles actually win tonight and then they beat the Cowboys next week, they will be in the driver's seat for the playoffs. So wait and see. Who do you think is going to win?
I'm going with the Cowboys in this one. They look really good. That defense is legit right now.
I'm actually going to go with the Eagles. And I don't know why. I think that's more of a gut pick. I don't think that the Cowboys can continue to win the way that they have. I think last week they caught a Saints team that, coming in on Thursday, doesn't matter if they played the Thursday before, had a full week to prepare. Thursday night football is a weird thing, and something has to give with that Cowboys team, and I think the Eagles are going to be able to pull it off.
Up there in the game, the Eagles are up 7-3, and I guess McCoy got hurt. So now Mark Sanchez.
Oh, no.
So we're now with Mark Sanchez twice on this show. Definitely a record.
Oh, my goodness. I have to watch this game, so we need to run through this. Oh, man, that's going to be good. Mark Sanchez, primetime, baby. This is what we needed. Jets at the Bills. Winner of this game takes themselves completely out of the hopes for the first-round pick.
I'm going to go with the Bills. Thoughts, Allen? Keep on running.
Yeah, I agree. I think that they're... I can't say that they're a pretty good team. They're a pretty mediocre team.
They are an insanely bad but mediocre team somehow.
Yeah, and they have a good defense, and I feel like they're going to turn the Jets over at a pretty high rate. So I am actually going to take the Bills as well. I think both those teams need to try their damnedest to lose, though. Sunday Night Football. Rams at Bears. I'm not even going to say anything about this game. Take your pick.
Oh, man. This was actually tougher than I thought. I'm going to go with the Rams.
Bears. Trubisky will be back. If Trubisky's back, Bears. I really think that the Bears will win if Trubisky's back. I think they match up well with them. The Bears really haven't given up anything on the ground except for like Saquon Barkley on a couple runs. But I think that's going to be fixed, seeing that the defense won't have to be out there all that time. I mean, they overcame 4 fumbles by Chase Daniel, a pick 6, and another interception, and still lost in overtime. Like games like that, where that much bad shit happens to you, you get beat by 20. Doesn't matter how good you are. Doesn't matter how bad the other team is. You get beat by 20 every day of the week. Bears were still able to just lose in overtime. I like their chances more that they lost against the Giants too.
You excited for that game?
I couldn't be more excited. Monday Night Football. Vikings at Seahawks. These teams actually both hold the wild card spots for the NFC.
We'll go with the Seahawks. Like I said earlier, have been the Vikings, almost overwhelming good team I've ever seen in my life, I think. And Seahawks looking really hot right now. Games in Seattle. I can't see Kirk Cousins winning this one.
Yeah, games in Seattle. I think that Seattle's going to win just because of the home field advantage, and they've been playing really, really good football lately, where the Vikings have not. The Vikings cannot keep Kirk Cousins upright. Everybody wants to point the finger and say that Kirk Cousins is the problem. Guys, the man has to have more than 3 seconds to pass the ball. I don't see that happening against the Seahawks. I think that the Vikings are going to get beat, but I think both these teams will find a way to make it into the playoffs. So Leighton C. This is our time to put you in the spotlight. Leighton C goes out and grinds. He watches several movies for you each week, and he comes on and reviews a movie for you. Leighton C, what do you got for us today?
1 2 1 2 Pip's Entertainment Review. Sit on down for a movie to view.
Well, this week I'm going to bounce back off of the terrible movie I saw last week and know what's happening. Kind of Grindelwald, and I'm going to review another ESPN Plus show.
Okay.
So this is a pairing at this point in time. Kind of just sponsoring them.
Yeah, we can do that. We can figure something out.
This one is more than an athlete. It's, like LeBron James, Maverick Carter, his whole kind of posse, as Phil Jackson would call it, and like their business efforts on a playing career. And it's only half up right now. There are 8 total. There are only 4 live. So get on it right now. Okay, it's really, really good. If you like LeBron James, you'll love it. Like basketball, you'll like it. Like business, you'll like it. It's really interesting. It's the first episode talked about when they were kids growing up, how they all met each other, and then talked about how LeBron went from Cleveland to Miami, all the bullshit that came with that.
This is going to get 3 dips, I already know.
How it came with all that stuff. I could watch this thing all day long. The little 18 minutes long is pretty disappointing to me, but this is just good TV. It's totally uncut. LeBron says the F word a lot. Big F word guy. Like that. So, more than an athlete, 2.9 dips.
Of course. I figured it was going to be a straight 3.0. Leighton C and LeBron, he loves everything LeBron does. But do you think that you have to be like an actual sports fan to like this, or is this something for everybody?
You definitely to be a sports fan to watch this.
Okay.
For sure. Just because like, if you haven't followed LeBron James at all, like you're just you won't appreciate it much. The episode about the decision was really good because they all talked. All 4 of them talked about how it affected.
How many episodes are there?
I think it'd be 8 total. 4 up right now.
Okay.
I haven't watched the 4th one yet. And watched that after this podcast, but 8 total. This episode is really good. They'll talk about how the decision affected them, how it affected LeBron James as a whole. Talked about how the flight from Cleveland to Miami was the quietest flight ever. No one saying anything, and they're just watching. People come in burning their jerseys. No one thought that was going to happen. And now that changed a little, basically.
Wow. That's kind of wild. Yeah. So, recap, what is it? You gave it 2.9 dips?
LeBron James, more an athlete. It's something like ESPN Plus. ESPN Plus is $5 a month, but it's 100% totally with $5 a month. Like, you're not going to miss $60 a year, trust me. You can get so much stuff on this. Full content. Stuff you want to get there. Definitely, get it.
All right. So, Leighton C, any bold predictions for this week of sports?
Yeah, actually I have 2 kind of go together. Patrick Corbin signs with a team, probably the Yankees, for the weekends. And the Phillies traded with Gene Segura today, signifying they're out in the Machado race. They signed Bryce Harper, but they signed next week.
Did you see where Patrick Corbin, he got married and the best man gave the speech and put on a Yankees hat after that, and everybody started going crazy?
I did see that. So someone's a Yankee fan.
Yeah. Sign of bad things to come, Leighton C. Yeah. My bold prediction is that Mitch returns in a big way. Bears pick up the win on Sunday Night Football and are able to dethrone the Los Angeles Rams. Anything else before we wrap this show up?
That was everything for listening. Hope you didn't mind the 2-man weave. I thought it was pretty good.
I thought it was really good, man. I think we spent about 80%
we
of the
bitched about the college football shit really hard there for a while.
It was worth it, though. I had to get that off my
A
chest.
lot of stuff, a lot built up animosity over here in the Salty podcast room.
Yeah, in the kennel. And on that note, Dippers, for Drake, for Leighton C., as always, stay saucy.